Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Golden Gloves Chat Show. With me, two very important people in boxing. On my right here, Damien Durandt, manager and trainer for Brandon Thysse. And of course, Marco Louise is the manager for Roarke Knapp. These two guys have got a very important fight, big fight, supposed to be in December. December obviously got cancelled due to you getting COVID, Damien, and of course, Brandon getting COVID and your assistant. So let me start with you, Damien. Let's talk about what did it feel like? Because me being a former fighter as well, I know when a fight gets cancelled, it's terrible. I mean, you've trained for 2 months, you've put in all that hard work, and now here you are, and the fight's off. So it was a big fight for you. It was a big rematch. Obviously, you guys had won the first fight, so you were the favorite. But it's a rematch that you want to get behind you as well. You want to prove that your man, Brandon, is the top junior middleweight in the country. So what did it feel like losing out on the fight?
Yeah, firstly, thank you, Brian, for having me. Look, it wasn't a good feeling. Firstly, we didn't even think we had COVID. I actually had a tournament the week before the scheduled fight. We went in for our COVID tests and came back positive, which I was surprised. Fortunately, I came back with no symptoms over the 10 days isolation. Brandon also had very little symptoms, and so did my assistant. So what made it worse is we weren't even really sick. Yeah. So we're sitting there and you're watching Roarke fight. You're like, we're barely feeling anything, and it should have been us in the ring. So it was disappointing. We put in many weeks into training camp. We prepared with everything we got to make sure that we were ready for the fight, and then a week out, it's not happening. So I'm glad it's happening now, and I feel that I want to put the story to bed. Like you said, I want to end this back and forth questions whether who's the better fighter. The first fight was close. Brandon won by stoppage. He landed a good punch. So be it, whatever it may be. But for me, after this fight, I want Brandon to stop Roarke, and I want to move forward. Brandon's turning 28 years old, and I want to fast track his career now. I want him to fight for a world title towards the end of next year. That's my goal with him, and that's where I see him going.
Well, fantastic, Damien. So it's 6 months later now. Let me talk to you quickly, Marcus. So you're in the same boat, training for this big fight, this big rematch. And now we've got it, fortunately, on the 11th of June at Empress Palace on the Golden Glove Show, winner takes all. But what did it feel like in December? I mean, you guys, it's like 2.5 years later in December. Yeah. I know we've spoken off air, we all speak off air, but you guys really wanted the rematch. I mean, it was the only loss for Roarke Knapp, and obviously it was a convincing win as well for Brandon Thysse.
Yeah.
What did you feel like when the fight had happened and now it's taken away because of COVID?
I think, like Damien said, you put in a lot of work over at camp, a lot of specific work also. And then you get this news, and then your first thought is like, is there still going to be a fight? Now we need to fight. There's that chaos. Oh, we have to find an opponent. Let's get a quick opponent. Let's find somebody to save the show first and foremost. But there's that intensity release. And that's what I found happening in that fight. We had this fight with Brandon. There's a lot of intensity in camp. There's a lot of focus towards one individual. And then there's like, okay, the fight's off. There's this release of all that intensity, all that preparation. And then you get another opponent. And then it's try find that intensity, find that preparation again, and try and make the small adjustments for a fighter that's completely different to what you initially were planning for. So, yeah, it was chaotic. I mean, COVID is also quite dear to me. I lost my dad to it. I know Brandon lost his dad to it. So it was also one of those things where it's mixed emotions. We were upset the fight's off, but you can't be upset at their camp for getting COVID because we're living with it. It's a difficult thing for all of us.
Yeah.
So when we heard, I was first I phoned Roarke straight away, and Roarke was like, "Look, I hope they're okay." I think that's the South African boxing scene. You always want everyone to be okay. But yeah, that was exactly the feeling. We were first, let's hope they're okay so we can eventually get this fight going. And then it was, let's refocus it because we've got a fight in a week's time that we need to now find an opponent and fight a new guy. So that was really...
So now the fight's on, 11th of June, the big rematch, the one you've been looking for. Tell us, Marco, let me speak to you first. What are you going to do differently? Obviously, you're not going to tell us now what you're doing in the gym and the secrets of what fighters take into a fight. But what can you do and what are you planning to do differently? But by fighting a guy that's beaten you by stoppage?
You know, Damien in the first fight said he was going to teach me a lesson. And I'll never forget what he said. He said, Roarke was small for the division. He did say that. He said he's a welterweight. And I'm the kind of guy that if someone says something, I take note of it. Doesn't matter if we're rivals or thing. I think Roarke's made the adjustments in terms of physicality, fitness, mental preparation. I think he's just a far better athlete and individual than what he was the first fight. A more professional kid. He was a kid who was steamrolling everybody. Things were going easy for him.
Well, he was 20 years old, so now he's 23.
And I mean, age, like we said, age is not the factor why Roarke lost that fight. There was a lot of things that happened, and not to make excuses, there was a lot of things that went in. I still believe that a Roarke that was at 50 or 60% could have beaten Brandon. I do believe that. It didn't happen on the night. He got stopped. I thought the fight was close. It was a good fight. And then he got stopped. It happened. I just feel we've got a far better Roarke, physically, mentally. He's a man. He's no longer a child that's going to a fight and kind of whatever happens, happens. He knows the consequence of this fight. He wants the fight. He's ready for the challenge that's ahead of him. And I think mentally, that's where the biggest difference is now, is with Roarke.
Damien, obviously your response to that, I mean, Brandon's been unbelievable. After beating Roarke, he beat Tommy Silvernoy and he beat Boyd Allen, both by stoppage. So he's done fantastically well. He is the top junior middleweight in South Africa, fighting the second best junior middleweight. Do you see the fight going any differently?
Look, as Marco said, Roarke was small for the division. I always felt he was a welterweight. He's obviously grown. He's become a man, as he said, but he's not in that, I say, the perfect phase of boxing. He's not in that 27, 28, up to 32. Brian, when you were at that age, you felt your best in boxing. So I think Roarke's still going to grow in the game, and he's obviously made a lot of changes. We've seen he's upped his training. He's in a better mind frame. He's going to bring all these attributes that he didn't have in the first fight, which is what they believe let them down. However, I still believe Brandon's the superior boxer, and I think that was Brandon's coming out party when he stopped Roarke, and that was the fight that gave Brandon the self-belief in himself, knowing that he's able to step it up and he's able to improve, and he's grown as an athlete himself. He knows the work that he needs to put in order to get the results. Mentally, he's in a phenomenal space. He lost his dad last year. This will be his first fight since he lost his dad. And I know he wants to win it for his dad, just like he did the first fight. So there's a lot at stake, but Brandon's evolved. He's a man. He's 27, turning 28. He wants to become a world champion in boxing. I think his mind frame's also changed. He used to just box because he boxed. Now he's boxing because he wants to be somebody. And I believe if you look at what Brandon's done in his last few fights, he stopped Roarke. Roarke at that stage had never been stopped. And he did it well. He then went on to knock out Boyd Allen. Boyd has never been knocked out. Boyd never got knocked out in the cage. So he knocked out someone with a very credible chin. Then he went on to knock out Tommy Silvernoy. Now, if you look at Tommy Silvernoy, his 3 losses came against top 50 fighters in the world, and they were all by points. Brandon stopped him. So the point I'm getting at is Brandon's constantly improving, and we will see an improved version of Brandon and a better athlete in Brandon. And I think we've got a future star in South African boxing. And don't get me wrong, there's definitely attributes that Roarke will bring to the fight that will make it an interesting fight. And I expect a good fight. But at the end of the day, I've got the superior boxer. I've got the more primed boxer. And at least Roarke can say he's got his age on his side. He can bounce back from this and still go on to be a credible boxer in the future. But for now, we're coming to fuck him up. Simple.
What do you say to Mark Louis sitting next to the manager?
That's it. We're going to knock him out. We're going to stop him. We're going to knock him out. And I'm
Mark,
going to get this road out the way. I don't want
agreements
to,
with that?
Brian, I don't want to have any more stories. This fight.
Remember those words that he's going to say right now. Remember these words.
It's done. He got his first lesson. He's going to bump his head again. And then he's going to go, okay, maybe I should listen. Let me grow my fighter and get him to a point when he gets to his 27, 28 and put him into the right kind of fight.
I remember...
This is overconfidence too quickly, and it's going to pay. And like I said...
I remember at our pre-fight press conference in December, you said muscles don't win fights.
100%.
What do you say about that, Marco? You said that
I agree. Muscles don't win fights. Skills win fights. And Roarke has far better skills than Brandon.
No chance.
Brandon is limited.
No chance.
Bro, you know it. I know it. He's limited. He's durable. He's fit. And at the moment, he's confident. That's what he is. He is not a world champion. He's not a superior fighter. He knows it.
Can Knapp knock Brandon out this time?
Never.
If Brandon doesn't
Never.
believe that, and if he doesn't believe that,
Never.
that's the biggest mistake they're going to make.
Roarke will never knock out Brandon.
All right.
Never.
Remember those words.
You'll be surprised how easy it is on the 11th of June.
Yes, I believe
It'll
the
be
same
very
thing.
easy for us. And afterwards, he'll bump his head and he'll say, Damien, well done.
Never.
Brandon's the better fighter. I need to regroup Roarke. I need to bring him back. Blah, blah, blah. And the story will go on. Like
Right.
the first fight, there was excuses. And there'll be excuses after this fight. He's got the strength and conditioning coaches. He's got his boxing coach. He's got the best management team. He's in the best space. He's in the best this, the best that. Blah, blah, blah. If you couldn't take it serious the first time, okay, when your career's at a very important stage of your development and now you expect it to be better. The only
Although,
reason this
Damien,
fight's happening is because I'm allowing the opportunity.
I'm not
I've
taking
knocked-
sides,
we've knocked that guy.
but it is 3 years later.
It doesn't matter.
You had
I've had 3 years to
20-year-old
improve from that knockout,
Sure.
and
No,
he's
no.
got 3 years to improve from that point
Absolutely.
as well.
You've had, and you have improved in 3 years,
Yeah.
unbelievably. But
The
Marco,
reason you're taking this fight is not because you're letting
you're
it
saying
happen.
3 years later
It's
makes a
because
big difference for
Everybody
for
knows Roarke is the star. Roarke is the charismatic, good-looking future star. Same thing what happened with
It's
Johnny
also
Muller and Kevin
it's also
Lerena
that-
is what will happen on the 11th of June.
It's the same story.
That's
Hear the
exactly
same
what's going to
story.
happen.
If you can say what you need to say. The bottom line is the kid got dropped when he was a youngster. He got dropped against Brandon,
Yes.
and he got dropped in his last fight. And this time he's getting knocked the fuck out. Finished. There's no questions. No.
Guys.
Asks. We've got 10 grand on the table.
I was about to say that.
Because no, that's what it is. It is.
you guys last
Because I
time
believe in
out.
my fighter, and I know what he can do, and I know what he will do to Roarke, regardless of what Roarke can bring. He can bring a whole fucking army on the 11th of June, and regardless, at the end of the day, my fighter will knock him out. That's
Marco, you
finished.
confident with a 10 grand bet that
I'm
Damien's put on the
happy.
table?
That is the easiest money I'm going to ever make in my life. I'm going to donate that 10 grand.
That 10 grand for
I'm
me,
gonna donate
I've got
that
better
10 grand.
odds against Marco than I do on the bookies, because the bookies know how well Brandon's going to beat Roarke.
Bookies mean nothing. Roarke was the favorite in the first fight. If you
Yeah,
want to
and then
remember
he
that.
got knocked out.
He was
In
a
this
kid,
fight,
bro.
we're the
Don't worry.
favourites.
Okay,
We'll
so
knock him out.
the viewers out there, so for the 11th of June, you got Brandon Thysse against Roarke Knapp for the ABU Africa title, and that'll be at Empress Palace on a Golden Glove show. And these two guys will be there as well. In the corner, of course, Damien Durandt and Marco Louise. Guys, good luck with the fight. It's a big rematch. It's a fight that South Africa has been looking for. The fans are looking for it. I know your man is a favorite, but it is 3 years later, and it's really going to be an exciting fight that we're all looking forward to. Final words from you, Marco. How's the fight going to go?
Roarke Knapp will stop Brandon Thysse. There's a big difference in class and skill set. Like I said,
Okay, that's very confident words
He's
for a guy
durable.
that lost by stoppage.
he's fit and he's riding a wave of confidence. That's all he is. He knows it. He knows it as a trainer that he hasn't got the skill set to beat Roarke.
Damien Durandt, last word. I know you've said quite a lot.
I don't know where confidence comes down when your boy's the canvas kid all the time, but we'll
Fine.
put him out on the canvas this time. Out.
Okay, thank you for watching the Golden Gloves Chat Show. Thank you, Damien Durandt, for being in our studio. Thank you, Marco Louise. We look forward to that big fight.
10,000 rand.
10,000 Rand. You guys are witnessed on the Golden Gloves Chat Show. We look forward to a very exciting fight. Thank you for watching.
Okay.